All right, so on Christmas yesterday, Florida State got the news that Tate Rodemaker, Florida State's supposed starting quarterback, would be entering the transfer portal. Now, obviously, Tate took over for Jordan Travis after the injury, led the Noles to 2 wins, one against North Alabama, the second in the Swamp against Florida, and then with a concussion being in that protocol, Brock Glenn had to play the ACC championship. Now, Tate goes into the portal, and it caused quite a reaction on social media, not only from FSU fans, from rivals, from Georgia fans, from college football fans all over, but from Mike Norvell. In a reaction, Mike Norvell went on the offensive, I believe, and may have even included a little bit of a hidden message in his tweet after the news was dropped. Now, Mike Norvell didn't come out and specifically say, hey, this is what I'm talking about, but I don't think it takes a rocket scientist to kind of connect a couple of dots and see what his implications were. I want to talk about his response, but first I want to address a couple of things about Tate. I had been told that there was a chance that Tate wasn't going to play in this game. I didn't think it had anything to do with injury. I had been told some things about we'll say different things going on with Tate that might prevent him from playing in this game, but he certainly was a potential to play. He was taking about half of the first string reps. If you think about it, there are only 2 scholarship quarterbacks available right now in Tate and Brock Glenn, and I've been hearing that it was pretty split. There really aren't a lot of first-team reps out there to even begin with because most guys are out of there. Trey's not practicing a lot. Obviously, Johnny Keon gone. There's not really first-team reps anyway. But what you would call first-team reps, I've been told that Brock and Tate were taking about 50% each in the practices leading up to this week. Now, is this timing very good for Florida State? Absolutely not. It's probably a little frustrating for most. It certainly was probably frustrating for Mike Norvell and this staff to find this out on Christmas Day. I don't believe there was any indication. I don't believe there was any lead up to this. I don't believe that there was any kind of a heads up as to the fact that this might happen. I think that practice may have been a little bit different. I think that the narrative around things might have been a little bit different had Norvell and his staff gotten this. There's obviously frustration from the Glenn camp as they went on record saying that the reason that Florida State's quarterback entered the portal was because of how publicly Florida State had been recruiting other quarterbacks. We've talked a ton about Cam Ward and DJ Uiagalelei, and obviously the Rodemaker family not super thrilled with the way that seems to be going down. However, they found out about this on the day that the team would be traveling down to the Orange Bowl. Florida State landed in Miami last night on Christmas Day to get ready for the Orange Bowl this weekend, which we will talk about a ton. But did Tate Rodemaker, did him and his family, did they literally tell the coaching staff just hours before, minutes before the team was supposed to take off? Was Tate Rodemaker's bag already packed by the equipment staff when he let Florida State know that he would not be traveling with them, that he would go into the portal? If so, man, I'm a little frustrated by that. Now, listen, I very much appreciate Tate for the wins on the road at Louisville last year to keep that season undefeated at the time, and also the win against Florida this year. That was a massive win that we will remember forever, and we will be appreciative of forever. I was in the Swamp. I sat in a former Gator player section. I will always be appreciative for that win considering where I sat. But if he truly went through 3 weeks of practice, expectation, the thought that he would be playing against Georgia, giving Florida State a better chance, there's no doubt about it. The Vegas lines have already moved. This is not a shot at Brock Glenn. This is not saying that Florida State was definitely going to win with Tate. But he certainly would have given Florida State a better chance had he played. To literally go all the way up until Christmas Day, and when the team was getting on the bus to head to the airport, you tell the coach, I'm not going. I'm going to the portal. It's a horrible look. That's a bad way to do it. That's putting the coaches who have believed in you and had faith in you in a very rough situation. But I'm not a huge fan of it if that's how it went down. And I have reason to believe that that is how it went down. He told Florida State just moments before they were leaving on the day of our Lord's birth, on Christmas Day. Pretty wild when you think about it. How could those practice times and reps and different things been used for Brock Glenn differently had they known? Who knows? Now, Norvell will oftentimes let a player play in a bowl game or in the postseason if they're transferring out the right way. If there's been constant communication, if there's been honesty, if there's been sincerity around updated timelines and different things like that, there are players that are in the portal right now who will play Saturday. Coach Norvell has no issue with that. If you're leaving on good terms and you're leaving the right way, we need the bodies at this point. And it's hard for me to think that he would not have honored a request if Tate Rodemaker wanted to go into the portal, but still did things the right way and wanted to play. Quarterback is a little bit different of a position. I can't guarantee that Mike Norvell would have let him play. But I know one way that you can certainly get on Mike's bad side, and that is to literally take him up to the midnight hour, the time when they're getting on the buses to go over to the airport to fly down to Miami, and that's when you tell him. I can guarantee you that that's not going to go over well. And so, no, Tate didn't do that first way. He wasn't upfront about what was going to go down. He didn't let Coach Norvell know. He did not, maybe he didn't want to play in the bowl game. I'm not saying that Tate asked to do that, but I believe that if he would have approached Norvell in the right way, I think he would have gotten a nice send-off tweet like Norvell does for a lot of guys who are leaving the program. However, Norvell did not send off a nice send-off tweet. He did not send off a, man, this is a guy you really want in the portal. This is a guy that gave everything. No, he didn't do any of that. He kind of fired back on Twitter after the announcement came out from Matt Zenitz of 247, and I want to talk about the way that he fired back on Twitter. But first, I do want to give some love to our friends over at Rapid SEO Host. Now, Rapid SEO Host specializes in high-speed, SEO-focused WordPress hosting. If you have a WordPress website for your business or you need a website for your business, you want that to show up high in search engine results. You want that to show up high when people are Googling your type of business. So Rapid SEO Host will optimize your website to be lightning fast. Stats show that fast-loading websites are easy to use, and they're more likely to get you better Google rankings. That means that every time someone Googles your type of business, your website is more likely to show up first. Now, they're efficient. They offer a hands-off approach so that you don't have to be the expert. You may have a big-name hosting site that you're already using. Give Rapid SEO Host a try. Let them handle the migration and completely optimize your website while you sit back and see the benefits of a lightning-fast website. They're noles just like you guys and I am. Make sure that you let them take care of you. Make sure you let them know that TJ sent you. I put all their info in the description of this video. Again, it's Rapid SEO Host. Reach out to them for all of your hosting and website needs. Now, Mike Norvell fired back on Twitter with this tweet. He said, "The world will let fear affect it, and life can be full of disappointing moments and will always have competition. Be true and honest in the moment. You then can live with the results. Excited and grateful for each opportunity. Hashtag keep climbing. Hashtag all we got, all we need." Now, I think he has 3 messages here that I want to talk about quickly, and we will get out. Number 1, I think this is directly a message to Tate Rodemaker and his family, his camp, whatever. He's somewhat calling him out here. And Mike Norvell didn't specifically say that this is what his tweet was or what his mission was, but it doesn't take a real rocket scientist to read between just a couple of lines and kind of see the timing of this tweet is very intentional. I don't think Mike Norvell liked being let know about what was going to happen just hours before his team would be down in South Florida. He talks about fear. He talks about competition. He talks about being honest in there. And I've never seen Mike Norvell act like this. I've never seen him subtweet a player or a situation. Not necessarily something I ever expected to see from him. We'll talk about that more in just a moment. But I believe that is a direct shot, a direct tweet to Tate Rodemaker, his camp, his family, calling him out and saying, hey, this is not necessarily the way that I think this should have gone down. Number 2, I think it's a message to his team. He's excited and grateful for each opportunity. It's a disappointing moment, he mentioned. I think the team's somewhat disappointed by this. I think they like Brock. I think they have all the respect in the world for what Brock did in the ACC championship. But I think they know that a 4-year quarterback is probably a little more likely to have a reasonable chance against Georgia than Brock Glenn is. I think it's hard to think that you could run your way to a win against Georgia. It was going to be hard to probably pass your way to a win against Georgia, but now the task gets a little bit tougher. But I think this is a message to his team to let them know that, hey, look, I'm still riding with you guys. You guys still want to be here. I'm still riding with y'all. We're not going anywhere. I'm not going anywhere. I'm not giving up. I'm not quitting. We're still here. We're still going to go out and do our very best, and we can live with the results there. Lastly, I think this is a message to the fans. I think this is absolutely a message to the fans about what kind of coach he's going to be. One that continues to embrace challenges, one that continues to take adversity head on and keep moving. I also think there may have been a little bit of a hidden message in there. Did you catch the thing about competition? Did you catch that part? Did you catch him talking about what competition is and how you have to live with the results of competition? Well, what do you think about that? Well, I think it means that there's going to be a transfer quarterback announced very soon. I would not be surprised at all if that was announced before or by the bowl game. We'll do plenty of content around whichever quarterback Florida State ends up getting. We've talked about DJU. We've talked about Cam Ward a ton. But I think that is certainly a little bit of a hidden message from Mike Norvell talking about what he expects. Tate Rodemaker in his camp put out a statement that they were running from the competition. Norvell's telling you there's competition coming, and you need to embrace it. And Tate may not be part of that going forward. It may be a competition between one of those two transfers and Brock and Luke. But there is competition coming, and we'll see how all that plays out. I mentioned this a second ago, but I've never seen Norvell act like this. I've never seen him essentially subtweet a player or a situation like this. It's honestly not something I ever expected to see from him, but I think that Mike Norvell is pretty frustrated right now. I think he's frustrated with the snub. I think he's frustrated with how signing day went down. I think he's frustrated with the portal, some of the guys who have left, some of the guys who we haven't hit on yet. I think he's frustrated with this bowl game. And I don't blame anyone for opting out. I don't believe Norvell blames anyone for opting out. But I think he's frustrated with how he knows this bowl game likely goes down. I think he is very similar to FSU fans who have been miserable for the last 3 weeks. The snub, signing day, the portal. We did get the Marvin Jones Jr. news. We did get the ACC news that we're leaving the conference. I get it. But for the most part, football related, the news has not been good the last 3 weeks. I think Norvell also wanted to own some of the narrative here. So many times kids can leave and, it'll be reported about how much money they're asking for or what they wanted or the demands they were making. And that'll come out, and then the kids can just go on record and say, no, that never happened. They can tweet back and say, no, we never asked for that. No, we never did that. That was never part of what was going on. Right or wrong, I think Norvell wanted to own some of this narrative and say, like, hey, we gave you a chance. We were honest with you. We told you the competition was coming. We did this, that, and the other. You're the one that ran from it. You're the one that went off in the other direction. You can like, love, hate, whatever, what Mike Norvell did on Christmas Day with the subtweet. I love it. Florida State fans seem to love it. Mike Norvell is 100% the kind of guy that most Florida State fans feel like they would run through a wall for. And just add it to the list. Some of this is his own doing, right? Mike Norvell is the one that's recruiting quarterbacks right now. Mike Norvell is the one that ultimately has to answer for things that went down on signing day. But he's had a rough couple of weeks. And instead of running, instead of being afraid, instead of not putting his best foot forward, he's going the offensive. And he's not afraid to do so. And he's not afraid to own a narrative. And he's not afraid to do what he thinks is right. And I think a lot of Florida State fans respect that. I have no doubts about the future of this program under Mike Norvell. I have no doubts about the where and how and why and direction that this thing is heading. It's been a frustrating couple of weeks. I get that. We haven't had a ton of good news that we've talked about on here. But we're still 13-0. We still have won 19 games in a row. A loss to Georgia this weekend, we'll see what happens on the field. It doesn't end all of that. A loss in an exhibition game where a bunch of kids opt out and a bunch of kids jump in the portal doesn't end what we're doing here. The 2023 season was really special. We had a blast covering it. That season is done. That season finishes at 13-0. We get to play an exhibition game to finish it. We'll see how that goes. Hopefully get some young guys a lot of good reps. Hopefully have some fun with it, have some exciting plays. Give yourself a chance late. We'll cover all of that later in the week. Actually, tomorrow night, now that I think about it. Days are all messed up with the holiday on a Monday. But the season's done. Now we look forward. What are your thoughts? What did you guys think about Norvell's tweet? Did he fire you up? Did he piss you off? Did Tate piss you off? Let's talk about that down in the comments. Listen, I appreciate, again, Rapid SEO Host for their support in making this video possible. If you have a website, if you have a business, reach out to them. All their info is down in the description. They're noles just like you and I are. Give them some support. Give them some love. We appreciate them for helping make today's video possible. I appreciate you guys for hanging out. Talk to you soon. Go Noles.